Hey there, and welcome to the Retro Tech channel and part 2 of the HP desktop, as you might want to say, bargain basement deal, where I picked up a computer for just £20 on Facebook Marketplace, and we broke it down in part 1 where we looked at what was inside. We had an AMD A4 5300 processor. We have no graphics card. We had 4GB of DDR3 RAM. And we had a 500GB hard drive. Now we did a quick benchmark on it after we finally got a Windows 10 install to take after a full 8 hours of piss-arsing around to get it done, but we got there in the end. And we were up and running. Now since then, since the last benchmark, we had a quick look at what we could do, and today we are going to be doing some benchmarking of some games to see what's going on. I have installed some software, and we'll have a quick look at that in a sec. Okay, so looking at the software we have, I had to just do a quick little fade there as I realised I hadn't turned on screen recorder. Now that is going to have a slight impact on my benchmarking, I apologise for that, but I do realise it's going to be, based on what I've got going on at the moment, it's about a 10% extra CPU usage over some of the software. But what we've got in here, we've got CD Burner XP. Now I'm only using that for a future product, but I do need it on the computer for that. We have obviously Steam, we have Specky to give us a bit more detailed specs, which I do like over the standard information that you get from Windows. OBS screen capture, which I've set for the lowest resource use possible. We have MSI Afterburner, which we are going to need, so we'll open that up now. So we're going to use that to capture our frame rates. Again, has a slight impact on the CPU performance, but is negligible overall. And as we'll be using this on all of the software that we're testing on all PCs, etc., it will be comparable. Driver booster, which we've used to make sure that we're up to date, and that is about it. We're not putting any cleaning software, antiviruses, anything like that on there, anything that could possibly slow it down at this point in time. Our games that we're going to be testing for this session, we have 6 in total. We have Warhammer 4000 Dawn of War. We have Unreal Tournament 3 Black Edition. We have Halflife, Halflife 2, Fear 3, and Just Cause 4 to give us a AAA title. To really push the boundaries of what this onboard graphics card can do. We of course need to double check it. We did Nova Bench first yesterday, or the other day when we did part 1, and we're going to have a look at that now. Now I have actually already run the Nova Bench because this is not the first time I've gone through this set of tests due to some crashed screen recordings. So we will open up and I'll just talk you through what we so far have found. When Nova Bench wants to open, come on you little boy or girl. Okay, so 4 days ago when we actually did this, it was 482. I then 3 days ago did some benchmark testing again on this, and then had some more issues with screen capture, so it's been only till today. And then 7 hours ago I did a full Nova test again, and then had some further issues. But so we had 482 4 days ago. Now, since then, we have put an additional 4GB of RAM. It's the only thing that's been added to this system. So it was a £20 system. We've added £10 sterling worth of RAM to it to give us an 8GB of RAM now in there, which you can see down here. And we are running, of course, the onboard graphics of the HD 7480D. Now, the main change we've got here from 4 days ago was, it's expected, I guess, is the fact that when we did the first benchmark, there was nothing else on the system apart from the benchmarking software, and we scored 233 on the CPU, RAM was 114, GPU 115, and the disk score was 30. If we now look at what we did 7 hours ago, the big change there, disk is relatively the same, GPUs are pretty much is the same. The RAM has increased by 30 and the CPU has more than halved, and this is obviously due to the amount of pressure that is on there. Now this isn't the maximum or the best spec CPU that we could possibly have in our system, so we could obviously upgrade that. So next up we need to benchmark some games and see what's happening there. Let's do it. Okay, here we go. So we've got Dawn of War up on the screen now. We'll just go in here. Now we're sitting there at 60 frames per second on the loading screen, just over 3GB of RAM, and CPU idling around 30%, which is what I was expecting to see at this point in time, even with the screen recorder running. Let's just pick anything. It makes no difference what skirmish we're going to play. We just want to see how it handles it all. Okay, so let's have a quick look around the screen. No real issues of tearing there, so that's all good. Let's get this little guy doing something. Let's get some power generation going. We have some enemy guys over here, or some good guys over here, or they're the bad guys, but let's go do some capturing of the flag. Okay. Now, in our settlement here, we have a squad. Let's see if we can generate a few things. Not enough orc resources. Let's send them out to do something while they're doing that. And then what we'll do is we'll go see if we can find some colonial space marines, have a bit of a battle, and see if the impact has a major problem. But CPU sitting there around 46%, up to around 50. We have RAM sitting there at just over 3 gigabytes of RAM and 60 FPS, which is all fine. It's running like a dream. Very enjoyable. Okay. I'm not even sure what they are, but we'll send you over here anyway. What have I just done? Oh, they're a Gretchen squad, right? So that's what they were. I thought the Gretchen squad were things that were another like fighting base, but apparently they are just something that battles or builds shit. Okay. Right, so they're building us something. So I hope we can get some more warriors. I'll get these guys out of the way. Come on, finish building. Right, get you out of the way, please. And good. Let's get some more baddies here. Right. Where would we think there would be some enemies? Send them over here, see if we can find someone to fight. We'll see if we can get some slowdown. Okay, so we've got something going on here. Yeah, let's do some battles, baby. So, what have we got here? We've still got 60 frames per second. It is comfortably sitting there at 50 CPU and still ticking over at around 3 gigabytes. So, I don't think there's going to be any issues with this game being able to play, even when there's a lot more enemies on screen. So, I think we can comfortably say that Warhammer Dawn of War is a comfortable success for this particular system. Let's try our next one on our list, and that is going to be Unreal Tournament 3 Black Edition. Let's check it out. Okay, so here we go, Unreal Tournament 3 Black Edition. We are running again. We've got much higher usage of CPU at this point in time, 80%. RAM is sitting there at just 3.5 gigs, and frames per second are sitting around the 60 frames per second mark. So we're going to go into an instant action campaign, going for a death match, and we will just play whatever level they give us. And it's weird playing side on. I'm not used to that. But let's have a look at what we can do here. And also very odd that there's no sound. Obviously I've got no sound, so I can't hear what's happening here because I'm recording. But let's find out what's this going to be doing. Now I need a better gun because this is a rubbish gun. So I can't really see what the hell I'm doing here. The blob gun. I got killed. Let's have a look at what we've got going on here. So CPU usage is definitely a lot higher, 3.6 gigabytes, and we're still running at over 60 frames per second. So I would say comfortably that this is a playable game. The resolution isn't great on this level, so there's probably some tweaks there, but I think we could probably up the settings on this without too many major problems and still get a very playable game. Oh, I forgot how much fun Unreal is. And why do you always lean when you go around the corner like that? Come on, where are you? Saw you around here somewhere. In fact, that was rubbish. Oh, you bugger. Yeah, boy! So I could keep playing this. but I should. Right, well, we know that it can play well, so let's try our next one, which is Half-Life Original. Let's go check it out. Okay, so we're in the original Half-Life. I have actually got the Black Mesa edition as well, or the Black Mesa remake, which is amazing. But what we're going to do here is we're not going to start it as a new game. We're going to start it as a save game. And the reason behind this is obviously anyone that's played Half-Life will know that the first part of the game is you on a train, and it takes a very long time to get through that. So it's not going to really put it to any real tests. So I want to play it from a bit where I've already saved it. And we can start from there, which is where you first get off the train. Now there is no fighting at this point. It is purely going to be walking around the facilities, but it gives us a good chance to see the lovely polygons that was from Half-Life. Let me free the door, come on. So we're getting 50% CPU, 3.4 gigabytes of RAM, and 60 frames per second. So pretty much the standard, no 8 majors there, no real... Oh, that's a loading screen. I was going to say there's no tearing. I was thinking, what the hell is going on there? I mean, there's a little bit of tearing there. Do you know what it is? It's there, but I'm really... that could be more the game than the actual graphics card. There's a tear. It's like where it springs back and you kind of go... and it sort of shudders around. Anyway, let's go and do a wander around the facility. It really is playable. Transitional loading screen was fine. It didn't seem to take too long. We have to, of course, come here and see if the microwave will pot roast. Will you explode? Come on, you will do it. Come on. Yay! Microwave exploded. Let's keep going. I have to be honest, there is no issues with this whatsoever. Let's go get our hazard suit on, get our hazard on. But yeah, I don't think I would have gone and got the... Yes, I would have got the energy crystal, don't worry. But if I was playing this properly, I'd have gone and done that done. But I think we can say that reality... Yeah, there's going to be some... With the lightning particles, etc. that you would get in Half-Life, you'd probably get a little bit more slowed down. But at the moment, we're flipping anywhere between 40 to 70% CPU, depending on what's going on. And that's obviously with some background stuff going as well. And it's quite comfortable with the original 4 gigabytes that we had put in there. So not putting it under any strain whatsoever, and very, very playable. Half-Life 2 is next. Okay, so for Half-Life 2, I'm expecting it to be a lot more challenging on the CPU. Longer loading times, and of course when there's more action going on, I'm kind of expecting a little bit more juddering going on. Now, Half-Life 2 is definitely been optimised for older systems still, and we can see it on the loading screen, so we're comfortably 50% usage of CPU, still again under 4 gigabytes of RAM being used. But we've dropped down to a 30% frame rate. I think we're much working on a much denser resolution here. We're just going to load up... Actually, no, we're not going to start a new game, and we will do from the fighting part and see what it can do. Keep loading, 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 loading. Okay. Let's have a look. So initially, nice and smooth. Let's go down. Let's go find those guys around the corner and see if I can smack them in the head with a crowbar. Hello, boys. Leave me alone. Okay, I really don't like the fact that I can't actually see anything with the cursor. Can't see where the targeting site is. It's really odd. But maybe if I just get close enough, then I can just kind of do it that way. But yeah, look, I mean, this is a smooth play, and I've got no issues with this. So, I'm just going to go. I'm going to do running and gunning. Everything feels. I mean, it's a little bit jolty there. You know, as you start getting more things on the screen, and I think that will start to slow down, but we are still comfortable at 80% CPU up to maximum. We've got 60 frames per second in game, under 4 gigabytes of RAM being used, so there isn't really anything here that makes me go, got some problems here. Whee! Okay, we're over. Let's see where those guys come. Where are you? Come on. There we go. Get the barrels. Where's that annoying flying bugger? He's around here somewhere. Hello, you. Get out my way. I can tell I've played this game a lot. I keep right clicking like I'm gonna look down the side of the barrel, but okay. I mean, look at this. We have got a very comfortable. It's a lot more comfortable than I thought it would be. I thought we might be getting some jolting on there, but to play on an old system and have Half-Life 2 running decently is great. So yeah, that's another tick box out of games to play. So we are now moving on to our 5th game, which is Fear 3. Let's check it out. Okay, so here we are. We're on Fear 3. We are in the title screen. We're at 70% usage and 3.5 RAM, 60 frames per second. Let's get into a game. We will do resume game. Yeah, let's get in there and see what happens here. This one's a little bit newer than Half-Life 2, if I remember right. So, still, I think, 2011. So, it's still a 13-year-old game at this point. But, lots going on. Graphical textures, but not like on high resolution. So, and I'm not a big fan of this. It's very quick mouse movements. But that's all stuff that I could change. And push the settings. Now, the important thing here is I'm seeing we're already into 60% CPU. We're down to 30 frames per second. But interestingly, we are still not using all that RAM that we put in here, so that's a bit different. Stab you in the back. Where's that guy? He's over here somewhere. Come on. I roll. I think it's very playable. My way. Up close and personal. If you can't see the aim dots on it, just go up close and personal and just shoot them in the head. You next. Give me a machine gun. I want your machine gun. Yep. God, I'm not used to this mouse. A little bit of lag there, actually. It's a bit laggy. What have I got for crouch? I'm not used to the keyboard setup on this either. I pressed some button that did something. I don't know what that was. Okay, I mean, overall, I have to be honest, it's a playable experience. The frames per second are dropping, and that is a bit of a problem. I think that could become an issue as the game goes on, because right now it's not too bad, but I think if it was to get much worse than this, you're going to get a bit jolty. Is that the way I just came through? I've lost where I am now. Oh yeah. See? I got myself all turned around there and went the wrong way. Kick open doors. Nope, not that door. This one. This one. One of these. Kick some doors. Don't know what I'm doing. Right, overall, let's have a think about this one. So, before I start getting far too into the game, CPU usage is much higher overall on this one, but it's been manageable. It hasn't really pushed over the RAM usage. And at 30 frames per second, it is a playable experience. I definitely feel like it could really benefit. The textures are not great. If I look at, I'm going to have a quick look at the video settings, but my guessing is they're pretty much, oh no, we're on high. It's mainly because of the resolution so low because of the screen I'm using. So that's one issue with this type of screen. But it is a doable experience. So we're on to our final game, Just Cause 4, our AAA title. Let's check it out. Okay, here we go, Just Cause 4. Now normally I'd wait until I got to the main screen, etc., but I don't know if we're going to get that far. It is being very slow loading some of these screens, like frame by frame. We're not even getting the diagnostics to tell me what my frame rates are at this point. So whether, oh, here we go. So we are running at pretty much full CPU usage, over 5 gigabytes of RAM, so that's where the extra 4 is starting to come useful. And on the loading screen, we're running at low frames per second, anything between sort of 2s, 3s, up to sort of 10s, 12s. So nothing playable in there, and that's the loading screen. So do I actually think this is going to be a playable game? No. It's getting close to the 7 gigabytes of RAM being used. We're at 100% CPU. It is really bottling it there. It's having problems left, right and centre this game. It is not happy. This computer is saying no. Computer says no. Right. Shall we get into a game? Let's have a look and see if I can do anything with this. Will it let me? Just like the duh, duh, duh. Okay, here we go. Let's go do some damage. Maybe I'll just try pressing walk forward. Here I go. I'm at 3 frames per second. It's like the slow-mo running things on Baywatch. But we need to get some David Hasselhoff over that stuff. That's what we need. Maybe I should do a whole thing. Maybe I should fire the gun, shall I? What am I going to aim at? Anywhere. God, damage, yeah! Slow motion fire. Yeah, not doing a huge amount on that, is it? So I can categorically say no, it can't run Just Cause 4. Okay, so there we go, we're back to our desktop. So far, it managed 5 out of the 6 games it was able to run, which is quite impressive. And we have to remember what this computer is, the thought process behind this PC is. This is a £20 PC with a £10 additional bit of RAM. If you were to pick up a monitor like this, you could probably pick it up at E-Waste. People throw them away all the time. So you could pick yourself up a monitor, keyboard set, mouse set. You can pick them up for anywhere between £10-20, depending on where you're kind of picking them up for. They're not overly expensive. Again, E-Waste, Facebook Marketplace is the way to go. So what we could be talking, but let's say you had to pay a few quid, a few bits of sterling. That's our euphemism. Our quid is our Britishism of today. But that would give you, let's say, about £50 for this system. Now, if you then went onto the Steam and you went to all these retro games, you could buy those in bundles and be paying about £1 a game. So let's say another 25 for 25 decent games of some random sort. Maybe more, maybe a little bit less, but let's say £25 is our budget. So we'll put £25 of games on there. We're now up to 75 quid. Now, for £75, you ain't bad, and it's upgradable. We have options. Now our next options are, we can stick with our 8 gigabytes of RAM, or we could go in there and put 2 8 gig sticks in and get 16, which would be more than enough for what we need. Alternatively, we could go down the graphics card route and put in there maybe a 2 gigabyte graphics card in here, because it's currently, the onboard is working on a 512, so not gigabytes, megabytes. So we've got that to work with there. And of course we have some space for the processor. Now the processor, having looked at what the maximum processor is we could put in for this socket motherboard, I'm seeing those go for about £40. Now we're not going to spend £40 on this right at this point in time, but maybe we can find a better deal on that particular processor on some second-hand marketplaces. And then the final one we could look at for this particular system is, of course, putting an SSD in here. We've got 500 gigabytes of hard drive, so if we were to put in a 500 gigabyte SSD and move the operating system over onto that, and then just use the 500 gigabyte hard drive as a backup storage for files, etc., that just don't need to be used all the time, that might be the way to go to help improve this system. But we will wait and see what we do next in part 3. Now, if you enjoyed my video today, please do like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on another video sometime very soon. Take care.